Hey Harmonizers, welcome to this exciting video where we're getting a new Mustang. There he is, the chestnut there that's on the left. And this is him coming out into the sorting area. I'll show you guys him getting loaded up onto the trailer. This is a 5-year-old gelding from Twin Peaks, Nevada. So that's where he would have been rounded up. And being 5 years old, he's at a great age for starting, riding and all sorts of stuff, but it also means that he might be a little bit more challenging to get tamed and gentled than maybe, let's say, a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. Generally, the younger a Mustang is, the more they haven't really learned to be fearful of people yet because they're exposed at a younger age. And so in general with Mustangs, like let's say youth competitors or juniors, they usually only let them take Mustangs that are 2 years old or younger. And that's just because it's easier to work with them as they're getting used to things. The same way that you might think of with a dog, it's easier to tame or get to know a dog if it's a puppy than if it's an adult. If they've already developed some fear or anything like that, then it's a little bit more tricky. Now, what's super interesting about this guy is that it was very hard to get him to want to go up to the sorting pen. So essentially what happens is there's this big wide open area where they can sort horses in and out of the pens, because sometimes they have to move them in and out for cleaning. They have to move them for sorting to make room for different horses coming or going, or if they're, getting along or not getting along, all sorts of reasons. And it's a little bit wider. And so up ahead, it goes into a narrow chute that sorts them and lets them go towards the trailer. So it's this narrow. So it is very intimidating for a horse. And the fabric there is to help make it so that way as humans we can see through, but it kind of dims a little bit all the other stuff that might be scary for the Mustangs behind them. So from his perspective, it is a little bit intimidating. And as he goes up through this area here, it's called a chute, meaning like the area you shoo them through. Then you can shut gates as they get far enough behind so they can't go any further back. And you can see he's pretty sure not to go, and then he's kind of looking at the red buckets even there, the bucket with the black bucket. He's checking that out and not sure, and really doesn't even want to go by that. It's almost like it's creating a little bit of a roadblock for him. And you can see the person at the back is really trying hard to use the flag to get him to go past. And he finally goes past the bucket, but then is like, heck no, not going to be able to do that, and goes barging right back past. So the person there grabs the buckets, kind of move them out of the way, not to startle him. He might have been checking them for food, or he could have just been checking them because he was unsure about what they were. It's hard to say because even though he's a feral Mustang and was a wild Mustang, he's been sorted through the different holding pens. So depending on how they give water or food, it could be something that he's used to seeing and thinking that it means food. So she's moved those out of the way. And where I'm standing is basically with a rope to shut a gate. So if he goes past where you see the camera is, which is where I'm standing, I'm holding the camera, then I need to pull the rope really quickly so that way the gate shuts and he is then blocked from going even further back into this big wide pen. So you can see he could be that he's nervous, doesn't want to be separated from his friends, lots of things that I totally understand. But at the same time, you can also see how his personality is scared enough that he's willing to kind of barge past the person that's past there. It doesn't matter that they're really trying to make big motions with those flags and things like that to try to get him to come up towards where the trailer is. He finds it more scary and he's okay to run past the human. So this is an important thing for me to notice as I'm watching him, that if he's really scared, he's going to barge through a human. And that's not an uncommon thing. And I've definitely, tamed many Mustangs before. And there's been some instances where there's been some close calls or they get really close, and it is something that they have to learn to relax and calm down and not panic and run through a human, but also that it's not okay to run through a human, because that can be super dangerous. They can really, really hurt a human as well, because they are such big animals. And so the person that's holding the flag back there, they've picked up the bucket also to try to see if that's something that can cause him to want to go the other way. And it's a fine balance of being big enough with your motions, trying to get him to go up towards where the trailer is. Because if you wait until a horse is only 3, 5, 10 feet away from you, there's no chance you're going to get them to go away. You need to have that before they get to you. And at the same time, you can see how she kind of settled and gave him time to think about it. But if he's coming towards her, she moves that flag to try to get him to go towards the area where the trailer is. And it's a real delicate balance, because if you're too timid, if you're too slow to add that pressure, then they might just run through that area. And if you're too quick, then they might get too panicked. So we ended up having to use this big red cloth to almost like a tarp to kind of bring him towards that area. Then we were able to shut the gates and able to get him to go towards the trailer area. He ended up going towards the trailer, turning around and coming out, and she just needed to fix the little gate there so she could shut that. So you can see each gate shuts a section, so they get closer and closer to where the trailer is. So now I'm the one holding the camera, so I'm standing pretty close to him, and he's doing a really good job he's unsure and he's nervous, but he's not running through anything. And you can see she used the flag there, trying to get him to turn around a little bit. And so I'm standing up at this side, trying to put it so the trailer is the happy place. There's a nice big bale of hay for him in there. Essentially, we try to set it up so that way he'll want to investigate the trailer and want to try going in. And all of the pressure, which is, waving a flag or even just us standing there, we try to have that all from one complete side. So we're all definitely behind him, and the flag's there. You can see he just looks at the flag and then goes to go the other way. And then we quickly shut the door, and then it's a matter of getting over there and latching that shut. So all in all, he loaded really safely. He was pretty slow to load and careful, which is okay. I'd rather that than being fast and hurting himself. And then here's a little look at stopping along the way, making sure we give him his water. There's a little bar there that acts as a little barrier, but he's scared and standing at the other side, so there's no real worry that he's going to go jumping out of the door. But there's the two of us there just in case, and being mindful about the door and filling up that bucket for him. When we're on the road trips, we usually offer the water when we stop at the gas station. So it's kind of a 1, 2, 3 where we get water for ourselves. We give water to the horse. You can see he's got hay there. It's a netted bag, but it's got small enough holes that his feet can't go into it. And then this is him arriving at my place. So going into the Mustang pen, you can see he's got lots of space there. He's got the auto water. He's got a shelter. And then for now, I'm just putting hay into a square bale inside a feeder that's in the shelter that's set up for him. And then he will be getting a round bale, but I didn't want to do that just yet. I wanted to give him just square bales, because we're kind of, when he arrived at my farm, it's kind of in that rainy season where it tends to be a little bit wet, and I don't want to get the hay wet. Like if we put a huge round bale out, I don't want it to get wet in the rain, and then it will go bad and it can go moldy because it won't get eaten fast enough. When hay gets wet, it's okay as long as the horse eats it pretty quickly. However, if you have an entire gargantuan round bale, which can be 800 pounds of hay, and a horse eats 30 pounds of hay a day, depending on the size of the horse, a lot of that hay can just get wasted and rotten. So instead, we're just doing the square bale inside his little shelter that's over there. There's a little feeder in there. But of course, he's going to check out the little bits of grass. Nobody's been in the pen for a while, so there's actually little bits of grass growing up, which we don't normally see, because in a smaller area like this, it's big enough that he can move around, but it's not intended to be like a grazing space. So that will be all gone pretty quickly because horses eat that stuff pretty fast. And it was kind of funny because all of my chickens came out to play and see him, and it was kind of funny to see them all around him. And he didn't really seem bothered by them at all. And overall, I think he settled in really easily with all the chickens around and with the space there. He didn't run around. He just kind of went right to the grass, even though he had lots of hay on the trailer. So he definitely wasn't hungry on the trailer, but he just seems happy to be off the trailer, and he actually seems pretty chill so far. So let me know what you guys think, and thank you for watching.
Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.